Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Runjay Patel. Guys, in this video, I'm going to talk about most common object or API used in client-side script. For example, G underscore form, G underscore user, these two APIs will be used very frequently, right? So whenever you will be dealing or you will be writing any client-side scripting, you must be using G underscore form and G underscore user. Although we have a other API like Glide Ajax, but that is rarely used whenever you want to make a server call. On that case, we can use the that G underscore glide ajax API call, right? But these two, G underscore form and G underscore user, most of the time we will be using whenever we are writing a client side code, right? So we will talk in details in upcoming few minutes basically, right? So with the practical example we will see. So let's understand this, what are the things we will be doing using this client script code, all those steps, right? So first thing I have written that retrieve a field value on the form. So if you want to get the value from the form, we can use a G underscore form. Hide a field and show a field, that also can done by G underscore form. Okay, and make a field read only, we will be using a G underscore form. Write a message, again we will be using G underscore form. So there are many cases, the form activity we will be doing, we will be using a G underscore form or G underscore user. If you want to deal with the logged in user, then we will be using a G underscore user, right? So although these both method have a many functions or method I can say, but most common used which I have written as of now, as per my experience, I have used these many function very frequently. Sometime like occasionally I used other function also, but these functions will be used very frequently. Don't worry guys, I will be talking each and every functions in details with the practical scenario, that means where we can use these functions. Okay, and the last but not the least, we will be talking about the G underscore user, that means a glide user API, which will help us to get the logged in user details. Fine. I have not written any example that how we can use. We are going to directly jump to our live scenario. Over there, we will check all these steps method, right? So let's jump to over here. So for this, let me write one client script, onload client script. On that, we will be checking all our code. Okay. So as you can see here, nothing is there inside the function. We are going to deal with these methods. Okay. This method will be present at the client end, right? The client script which I have written, that onload client script. So first let's talk about the G underscore get value. So what it will does, so whenever we want to get the value, let me first write G underscore form dot get value. So get value, as you can see here, here right now it is written that return the value of the specified field. So if you will select this, then it is asking field name. The field name, it has to be a string type, right? So whatever the value we want to get from the form, from that particular field, we have to specify that name as well. Okay, so let's say I want to get the value of the priority, or let's say short description. Okay, so first we have to check what is the internal value. This is basically a label. Okay, and this is the actual value which been stored in our database, right? So we have to pass over here this way, but it has to pass under the inverted comma. So my key is not working, so I'm just going to copy this one. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to alert this one so that we can check right away. So get value, so short description on load, while loading the form it will give us the value, right? So let's say I'm just going to open any form over here, right? So which has a short description. Fine. So as you can see here, a short description is there, this one, right? So same value appear over here as well. So if we want to get the value, then now we come to know that means how we will get. We have any field value, if you want to get it, you can get it, right? Now let's go to the next method, that is the get options. So we can get the options, clear the options. If you want to get the options, this is the option, okay, right? If you want to get the option, here you can get the option value as well. If you want to clear that, whatever the value gets selected, if you want to clear it, if you will make it clear, then it by default it will select it as a default value, it will get selected. If it is no default value given, select is there like this, none is there, then by default none will appear over there, right? Add info message basically says that, okay, so let me just do it add option also. So what we are going to do, g underscore form dot, okay, f underscore form, it has written form dot add option. So if you can see here, index specify the particular field and the list. So here it is asking what is the field name on which you want to add, what is the choice value, and the what is the label. So let's say you want to add one field over here. So basically let's say in a state, basically we are going to add some, or let's say in the state we are going to add some value, right? So how we will do so, first we have to type a state. Okay, again I have to put this one. Okay, one second guys, and this, and here I have to put one by one a state. So basically first a string which will, we are indicating that we are going to update the sorry, we are going to add option in the state field. And what is the internal value, let's say I'm just going to give some random value, and here is the just a test, right? So this will be a display value, and this will be a internal value. I'm just going to this one comment this out, and while loading the form we'll check that. Right now as you can see here, no test value is appear. So we are expecting as per our code, we are expecting that it should add test as a state over here, right? So if we'll just reload the form, and okay, let it reload, and if you will go here, as you can see here, test started appearing, right? So if you will let's say you have saved this form like this, okay, and if you want to clear this out, then how you can do so, you can just use the g underscore form dot clear value. Clear, if you want to remove a particular option also, you can do so. If you want to clear value, you just specify the clear all, something like that, okay, fine. So what will be our next that add info message. So add info message, basically it will add the information message on the form. Let's say um, g underscore form dot add info message means info means information message we are adding, okay. So testing, something like that we are giving, and so it will add on the form while loading the form, right? So we have a many like add info message, add error message. So it will display over here on the top of the header. You can see over here, it will add, as you can see here, right? So something it will, if you will, right now it is information message we are displaying, that's why it is coming in this color. If you want to display error, then it will come in the red color, right? G underscore form dot add error message, so it will come in the red color, right? So let's say adding on this one, and here we are giving 2 or something, let's say 2, and yes, just going to save it so that we can check it this out, right? We have to reload the form again so that our client script code will get execute, right, while loading the form. Sure, as you can see here, this is the information message, this is our error message, right? So got it. So field message basically, okay. So field message, if you want to display a message on the basically below the field, let's say I want to display a message below the field. So what we can do, we have to use this field so that we can use that. Let me just do the coding for this, right? So g underscore form dot what add message, right? Not add message, so field message, right? So okay, so field message, right? And it is asking for the multiple parameter, that means um, a string, and here is the string, and the here the string field message. So if we can give like this input over here, I'm just going to type this one, and here assign to. So we are indicating that here we have to display the message, and here we'll just display the uh, info message, something like that. Okay, so it will display here, right? Now if you will reload the form, then what it will do, let's check it this out. We are going to just cancel this, and we'll just reload the form, right? And here, as you can see here, this is already working, we have already checked. And here below the assign to, it is coming the info message. So let's say if you want to display the like error one, then we have a different method called show error message, something show field error message. So let me check that one also. G underscore form dot add error message, see second one. So here you have to just add your message, it will add the error message, not this one. Okay, so field, so basically a field one. So basically write um, show related one, I think this one, not this one. Okay, let me type it over here, right? G underscore form dot oh, let me just this one, error box, basically. So this is the one, here it will ask you to for the input same way. Let me just give the same way so that it will come in the different color, right? So I'm just going to remove this one. Fine, just let me comment this one, and let me comment out this one, information message, and error. Now this time it will display the like this in the red color. Fine, so if I will reload it, let's see what it will happen. This time it should display a error message, info message, something like that. Message we have passed it the info message, so that message is coming, right? The important one, guys. Okay, so clear message, it will clear your message. So get section, so let me just jump to the section. What it will do, g underscore form, we have a two method for getting a section, one for a section name and one for the section object. Okay, so first one, section name, it will give you the section name, basically all the section present, and the section code, it will give you the section code. So let me just do it, alert this one. And section, first I'm just checking the section names. Okay, and in the same alert, what I'm going to do, g underscore form dot get section, and this time I'll be doing this one. So this will give us the objects. Okay, so all the section object, and this will give us the name. So let's check this out. So yeah, we have to reload the form again. So section, basically this one I'm talking about, guys. So this is the section over here. So section 1, 2 and 3, it is there. Sorry, 0, 1 and 2. It will start based on the indexing, array indexing. So it will start from the 0. So as you can see here, noted sorry, notes, related record, resolution information, till here it gave the name and the three objects it has given. So see here, one object, second object and the third object, right? So yeah, so this will give you the object section of sorry, this one, object, and the name. If you want to populate, then it will populate the name. So let's say why we need this. Sometime what we have to do, not on the incident, but if you are working on any ppm module, like a demand or project management module, then on that time you might have to deal with the multiple section, right? So on that case, if you want to hide and show section, we have a very simple way to do so. So g underscore form dot first of all we have to do so get section, right? So section names, just do, sorry, section object, you can just go for it. I would not say this one section. Okay, let me do it again. Get sections. So okay, this will give the object. So I'm going to hide this one first one, because this will give the indexing, and dot hide method we have. So what it will do, it will hide this one. So let's check this out. If I will save this, and we'll see how it will hide this one. I'm expecting that notes sections would be hide in this case, right? So let's check this out. As you can see here, now note section is not visible. It's hidden now. Related records and resolution information is there. Got it? So based on the condition, if you want to hide and show, you can do so using this one get section dot hide, and we, for showing, we have a show method, right? You can just utilize this one. Fine. Now this was all about g underscore form, but let's talk about some glide user. What are the option we are getting it over here? So let me just put it over here under this. So here what we can do, just let me do g underscore user, and we have these very few option is there, but yeah, first name, it will give you the first name. Get client data means you will be getting a client data. Get full name means whatever the updated in your user table. It will get hash role. Basically it will give you the true and false value if you are whatever the role you are passing on this object, sorry, this method. If user is having that role, or if they are having an admin role, on that case also it will give you the true result, right? So let me check, because this will come interview questions. Interviewer may ask you, that means what is the difference between hash role and hash role exactly. Okay, so let's understand over here. So in this case, what it will does basically, so let's say what I'm going to do, I'm going to say that means, okay, so give me the true if user is having a itl role. Okay, itil. Fine. So if user is having itl role, then it will give true. Or if user is having admin role, on that case also it will give the true result. So if I will reload the form, then in this case it will give the true. Because why it is giving a true, because I have logged in as a admin user, right? So if you are having an admin, then it will give you the true, else it will check, or condition, basically it will check, right? Now what if we want to check whether the particular person is having exactly role whatever we are specifying it in the section or not. So for that, what we can use, let's say I'm just going to copy it again, and here instead of this one, what I'm going to do, we have a field function called hash role exactly. So in this, if we will pass itl role, then it will check if you are it will give you the true result. If you are having a itl role, whether you are having a admin or not, it doesn't matter. If you are having this role, then only it is going to return you the true, else it will return you the false. But here the condition is different. If you are having itl or admin role, although we are not checking over here, but it will return you the true in this case, but here it will return you the false. Let's see. In the first alert it should return true, and the second alert it should return false, because I have not specified the itl role to my account, right? So let's see. So first case it is coming true, second case it is coming false because we don't have ITL role, right? So this is the very common interview questions. They will ask you what is the difference between hash role and hash role exactly, right? Form dot, sorry, we are talking about the g underscore user, and yeah, hash role from list, if you can just give the comma separated, it will give you the true as it is written, return true if the current user has at least one role. So if you are checking 5 to 6 role and if user is having one of them, then it will return you the true. Has role is it will return true if the current user has any role, means any of the role it is having. Last name user id, it will give you the sys id of the users, and username it will give you the uh, your username basically. So this data which is coming from here, most of the data, let me open it over here, users record. So let's say I'm just going to open this one. So user id, it will return you the sys id of the users, and the user something it was coming, so that this field it will return username, right? Hope you understood now. So I think I have covered very much all the functionality over here which will be used commonly, like getting a user id, name, full name, first name, all those steps. So yeah, that's all for from this video, and in the next video I'll be talking about UI policy. So client script section got over here now, and hope you understood. If you have any doubt, you can reach out to me anywhere, and guys, please don't forget to like and subscribe my channel. Thank you, it's really motivate me to make a video on the different topic. Thank you, have a nice day. Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Runjay Patel. Guys, in this video, I'm going to talk about a very popular topic in ServiceNow, that is UI policy. UI policy used at the client side whenever you are doing a form validation and kind of making a field mandatory. You want to hide and show some field based on the some logic. At that time you might be using a UI policy. I said you might be using a UI policy. Then we do have other functionality which I have already talked about, right, in my previous video. That is none other than client script. Client script can be used to perform such kind of functionality, like making a mandatory and hide and show the field value and on the form, right, at the client side. Now if client script is doing such kind of functionality, then why we are going to learn UI policy, right? And why ServiceNow emphasize to use the UI policy over the client script? We'll talk about all these questions in details, and in which scenario we can use the UI policy, and in which other scenario we can go for the client script, right? So we will be talking in details in upcoming video, right? And fine. So let me ask you one favor, guys. So if you have not liked and subscribed my channel, please do so. It's really motivate me to make a video on other topic. And also, if you would like me to make a video on any other topic, you can write an email to me, and you can message me over the LinkedIn and over the Telegram, wherever you want to reach out to me, right? Fine. So let's start. Uh, hmm, about UI policy in details, right? So let's first understand what is UI policy. So if you have watched my previous video, that is client script video, then I have explained the same thing. That means if you want to make a behavior change for the form, and if you want to make a visibility hide and so on the field on the form, then we can use the client script. And now I'm talking about the same thing. If you want to perform the same activity, we can use the UI policy, right? So both UI policy and client script work at the client side. Now the question come over here, a very important question, that means when we can use the UI policy and when we can use the client script. So you know that like service now emphasize to use customization over the coding, right? So whenever it is possible sorry guys, we can do the configuration over the coding basically, right? So UI policy makes you to mandatory field mandatory, visibility, read only, clear the field value via the configuration. Not even a single line of code you need to write. And if you will talk about the UI policy over the client script, it is a little bit faster than client script, because we are not writing a single line of code. If you are writing a single line of code even, then it will require to process that code, right? So if we are not writing, then definitely it will be little bit faster than the coding one, right? So that's the reason, whenever it is possible, whenever you have a scenario to make a field mandatory, I would request you, I would emphasize you to use the UI policy over the client script. Now the question come, when we can use the client script, right? So let's say you want to make a field mandatory on certain condition which is not possible via the configuration. On that case, let's say you want to write some code, and based on the logic and based on the output from that code, you want to make a field mandatory on visibility of the form, not form, basically visibility of the field. On that case, definitely you have to go with the client script, right? So this was the difference, like how and when we can use the UI policy. Now let's talk about some other behavior of the UI policy, like condition must be true for it to execute. So that we will be talking about on the form. Execute after the client script. So this will get executed after the client script will get executed, right? Fine. So let's jump into the practical session. I'll be talking about these all parameter one by one in the demo session itself. Okay, so no need to go one by one whatever I have written. You know that I will, after this video, I'll be posting the same thing on my servicenowhelpdesk.com, right, as a blog. So let's jump into the demo session, right? So now this is the left navigation. Here what you need to type, just type a UI policy. Okay, and now where you have to go, you have to go under the system UI. Here we have a UI policies. Now click on this UI policy. Let me click. I have pressed the control and then I have click on this link, then it will open in the new tab. So here it will be presented with the list of the UI policy present in the system. Now here how we are going to create a new one. We have a new button over here, so we are going to click on this new button, right? Sometime it will take time based on the response and internet connectivity. So now this is the form presented, right? So once we have clicked on the new button, so this is basically a UI policy form, and the first thing that the form is asking to select the table, on which table we are going to apply. So before jumping into the creation of new, we have one practical scenario. Let's talk about that scenario itself. Okay, so I'm just scrolling down over here, and here we have a real world scenario that make a plan start date and end date mandatory if a state of change is scheduled, and hide related list incident caused by change if a state of change move to implement a state. So this is the requirement, like a practical requirement, I can say. This I have taken. Okay, right? So we are talking about basically a plan, a start and end date which is related to change, not a incident, right? So yeah, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to, because I have to apply, let me open the change from here, change from basically. Fine, so I'm just going to click all, and let me open this one. Fine, so on this form basically we will be making that changes. So what we are going to do, that we have a planned start date and end date somewhere, where schedule here, Under the schedule tab, we have a plan start date and plan end date. So when we have to make a mandatory, let's back to our requirement. Make plan start date and end date mandatory per state changes to scheduled, and hide related list incident caused by this if change move to implement. So in this requirement, we have to perform two activity. One, that if a state changes from changes state changes is scheduled, basically over here. So right now on this, okay, so right now we are on the authorized state, right? So once it will move to scheduled, then what we have to do, we have to make this as a mandatory, right? And the other thing, that and hide related list incident caused by changes if a state changes move to implement state. So we have one incident caused by change. This tab we have to hide whenever a state move to implement a state on this state, right? So this is the two functionality that real world functionality we will be implementing in this UI policy, right? So fine, now let's create our first UI policy, right? So now we know that which table we have to apply. So first we have to select the change table, right? So just type over here change and look for the change underscore request. Let me type. So this is the one, right? Fine. So I have selected the table called change request, that this UI policy is going to apply on the change table. So let's say what we are going to do. We are going to say this one, we are going to make a plan start and end date mandatory, right? And now what we are going to apply over here. So let's talk about something, the attribute that you have to make sure that active flag is active. It is, if you are making it deselected, then it will be kind of inactive, and if you are making this flag selected, then this UI policy will get applied, right? So now on the main form, we have just selected the table name and the short description we have given. Now let's talk about when we are going to apply, right? So on when we are going to apply, we have a condition over here. We can apply over here, right? So when it will get applied, so it is saying if a state change is scheduled, right? So now what we are going to say, state state is, here we can say scheduled, right? So if a state is scheduled, then this UI policy is going to run. Fine. Now other thing, what other things are there? So global, it will you can see here, this UI policy applied to all the form view. So if you are not selecting over here, let's say you want to apply this UI policy on any specific view, then just deselect this checkbox and select your view. Okay, so you might having like in one table we might be having a multiple view. So on the, basically on the change, if you are working, then definitely you will be having these kind of default view, and on top of that, if your client is asking to create one more view, then definitely you have to do so, right? So right now we are not going to select any view, so let's apply on the all view on load. So this UI policy, if you want to apply on, while loading the form, on that time you have to make sure that this checkbox is checked. Now this is also a beautiful option, that reverse if true. So if your whatever the condition you have applied, if it is true, if it will evaluated as true, then you, whatever the action you will be performing, that will get executed. And what if this state will evaluated as false, you want to reverse that option, on that case this checkbox would be checked. So definitely we what we want, that if scheduled date is sorry, a state is scheduled, then definitely we want to this both field to be mandatory. But we definitely we don't want when a state of the change is authorized, then definitely on this case we don't want this two field to be mandatory, right? So this option is required. If you are not saving it, then it will apply only for this state is scheduled, then it will make this mandatory, and all the time it will opposite it to it won't work basically. So make sure that this checkbox is checked for you. Okay, now next one is the inherit. If you have knowledge about inheritance concept in any other object oriented language like Java or .NET, then this is the same behavior basically. So whatever table, other table, extend this change request. Okay, so that change if you want to apply, so this UI policy you want to apply on that inherited table as well, then on that case you can apply, check this checkbox. Let's say I have created this xyz table and I have extended this change request, and on that case I want to apply this UI policy on my xyz table as well, then on that case I have to select this inherit as a true. Fine. Hope you understood this all parameter which is listed over here. It is a self-explanatory as well. As you can see here, this is a beautification of service. Now they will explain very in layman language basically, right? Now we are done with the when to apply, and now let's check the script. Basically sometime we require to run a script. On that case we can check this checkbox and it will give us the dialog box to write our script basically. Fine. So in this case we are not going to write. So as you can see here, it is saying execute if true, whatever the condition you script you will be writing, and then it will come over here. If it is false, then all the logic will goes over here. But that is not the objective for the UI policy. In very rare case we will be using this coding, but most of the time if we are doing a UI policy, then we will do for the configuration itself. And whenever it's required a coding, then I think I would recommend you to go with the client script. Fine. So let me save this form. Fine. So I have saved. You can submit also. Only you know that the difference between save and submit. If you will click on the submit, it will redirect you the previous screen, and if you will save, then it will insert the record and it will be on the same page. So right now I'm on the same page. Now the other thing, as you can see here, the related list it's come up, right? So this convert this to data policy. This I have a separate topic that I will be covering, that how we can convert a UI policy to data policy and what is data policy, and from data policy to UI policy how you can convert, that we can discuss in the upcoming video. Fine. Now now we have created the UI policy. Now what action we are going to perform? So here we have the UI policy action, as you can see here, right? So now in this action, because when a state is scheduled, then we have to make this field as a mandatory, right? So we are going to click on new. This is the action which we will be performing when our execution will get true, right? When a state is scheduled. So here it will, we will select the field. So on this case we will be selecting the plan start date, right? So it could be done. Okay, here. So plan a start date. First let's go with the plan a start date. And what are the things we will be doing? We are going to make a mandatory. So mandatory here it is true, right? So we are saying that okay, so plan a start date, make the mandatory. If you want to visibility hide and so, this can be used, and read only, then true. If you make it true, then it will become a read only, you can't edit the field. And if you want to clear the value, you just make this checkbox checked so that it will clear the value. So our requirement is to make the mandatory, so I have selected this mandatory as a true. Again I'm doing a right click and save, because I have to create one more action, basically UI policy action, that with the plan end date. So there are multiple UI policy with the same order which they run to. Okay, so basically it is saying that we have other UI policy as well, that is having a same order. All right, so what I'm going to do with this, basically plan a start date they have used. Basically this is the maybe other UI policy I have written. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change that order basically. Okay, so what we are going to do here, we have a order here, this one, and this is the one we are going to say. Okay, instead of 100, let's say I want to execute after all other will get executed. So let's say I'm going to show 101. Okay, so it will execute later. And now if I will this time it, if I will try to save, it should get saved, right? Got it. Now we have added our plan start date, and same will go with plan end date as well, right? So let's select plan end date, plan end date. Again we have to make the mandatory. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say insert and update, because if I will save this, then it will update the previous one. So this time I will be saying insert and then stay over here, right? And now let me open this UI policy again, and we'll see how action we have configured. Two action basically we have configured under this, right, UI policy. So you can see your policy action, a start date and end date mandatory, we have made it as a true, right? So this is the one that our UI policy is done for one functionality, that is this one, make here. And related, for the related, hiding a related list, we have a different condition, so we cannot incorporate in this UI policy. For that we can write our different UI policy, and that will be a task for you guys basically, right? So here, okay, fine. So a start date and end date we have made it mandatory, and now let's check what is happening right now on the form, right? So I'm just reloading this form, or may let me open any change which is already in scheduled. Let me go over here, open all opened one, and the state we can say, yeah, this one we found it, right? And let me open this, and if I will right now, you can see here right now the status of this change request is scheduled. So this time a start date and end date should be mandatory, right? You can see that it's become mandatory. We have other change that okay, over here, and this change request is in authorized state, right? So let me just refresh it. This time it should not be planned start date and end date should not be mandatory. Here it is not mandatory, right? So our actual requirement was that if change request, not change request, yeah, so change request state is scheduled, then planned start date and end date should be mandatory, right? Hope it is clear to you. It's a very simple. I have not written a single line of code, and I have made my changes on the form, right? So if you are doing same functionality using a client script, you can achieve this via the client script, there is no doubt on that. But you will be writing a code for that, like a g underscore form, and you will be setting a set mandatory, and then you will be passing the field name, and then you will be passing the true as a parameter, right? Then it will become a mandatory. But here we are not writing. So if you are afraid about writing the code, it's very simple. You can just start using the UI policy. Fine. So this is all about the UI policy. Like UI policy, this I have showcased you UI policy from the native one, but you can write a catalog UI policy as well. That is, let's say over here we have like if you are working on the catalog item, then you can same similar way you can write catalog UI policy. Only the difference would be that here you are selecting the field name, but in the catalog you will be selecting the variable. That's the only difference, but every functionality works as a similar way. Fine. Let's check what else we are missing. Same thing I have explained it over here, guys. That let me just go through one by one over here. So note here I have given the note that always use a UI policy instead of a client script if you can, for faster load time and easier maintenance. Right, so definitely if you are writing a code, definitely it will be a little bit maintenance will be higher side, right? And here I have already showcased you how to create a UI policy from the demo itself, and here I have given the steps and UI policy action which we have created. And yeah, fine. And UI script which I have talked about a little bit, right? But that is not recommended. If you are writing a script, then why not you are using a client script, right? Fine, but sometime if it is required to let's say if you have already written a UI policy and now some complex requirement came and you have to incorporate those changes in existing functionality, then on that case you can go ahead and write your code as well. So this is the similar way you can write it out down, right? And this is was the real world scenario which we have covered. And for hiding your second requirement, basically that incident caused by change, that you have to do it from your side, right? Thank you, thanks for watching, have a nice day. Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Runjay Patel. Guys, in this video I'm going to talk about comparison between a client script and UI policy. It is very important for your exam. If you are appearing for the CSA exam, then definitely few question comes from this two topic as well, right? So although I have discussed each and every functionality about client script and UI policy in my previous video, but let's talk about the comparison between client script and UI policy in this video, right? So we will be talking about key point which need to be remembered during your exam. So client script and UI policy both execute at the client side, basically, right? Both UI policy and client script we can write the coding as well, right? And both will execute at the client side. And same API can be used in UI policy as well as in client side. So this is kind of similarity. It is there in between client script and UI policy, right? Both are used to manage the form and their fields. So basically, whenever we are doing a manipulation on the form at the client side, then we can use the UI policy and client script, which we have already talked about in details in our previous video. Now it is important to decide between client script and UI policy which we can choose, right? So there are certain parameters which I have listed down below, which I will be talking uh, in a few minutes. Okay, so on which scenario we will be using a client script and on which scenario we will be using a UI script, right? So let's talk now the criteria to decide whether we should use the client script or UI policy. So the first point which I have written down, that execute on form load. So form load, while loading the form, whether the client script will get executed or UI policy will get executed. The answer is both. Both can execute while form loading, right? So this will whenever you have such a requirement while loading the form, we have to make some field mandatory or hide and so, then on that case you can go with the UI policy. Again, I'm choosing a UI policy because if you have a similar simple requirement, then why you will be writing a simple one or two line of code? Just go for the configuration, right? But this is the very simple one. Then the next one, let's check over here. Execute on form, save, submit and update. The client script said yes, it can be executed while saving the form or submitting the form or while updating the form, but UI policy will not execute on that case. So let's say you have a save button, submit button, or update button on the form, and while clicking on those button, if you want to execute the your some kind of validation, on that case UI policy is not going to help you. On that case, you have to go with the client script. So got it? So while saving the form, before saving data into the database, you want to perform some operation or some checks. On that case, you can go for the client script. Your policy will not help you on that case. So let's say while clicking on the submit button, I'm taking an example. You want to make sure that user has to confirm, like you want to pop up one dialog box, are you sure you want to submit this form, that kind of functionality. Then you can go with the client script. Fine. Now let's talk about the third um, pointer, that execute on form field value changes. So it is saying that means when value is getting changed on the form for a particular field, on that case if some scenario is there, on such case we can use the client script or UI policy. So in this case both. So let's say while changing the state of the incident, you want to perform some kind of validation. On that case you can go for the UI policy as well as the client script, right? Fine. The next point is have access to field old value. Fields old value means like let's say state right now we are changing from new to in progress, and we want to check what was the previous value for the state. On that case in client script it is possible, but in UI policy it is not possible, right? So let's say you have some requirement and it is saying when a state move from new to in progress, then perform this kind of behavior. On that case client script will suit for you. Fine. Execute after client script. So definitely UI policy, if you want, if you let's say sometime what it will happen, one logic is written in the client script and one same similar kind of logic is written in the UI policy, then which will win? Basically that is the important question that might come in your exam, that which one will execute first, client script and UI policy. Then execution will first will be happen through the client script, and UI policy will execute after the client script. So execute after client script, yes, UI policy will execute after client script. Now the next pointer is set field attribute with no scripting. So here this is the main important things basically, guys. So set field attribute with no scripting, which is only possible via the UI policy. That is the main reason to choose the UI policy while not writing a single line of code, right? If you don't want to write a script, then please go with the UI policy. Fine. The next one is required control over order of execution. Client script, they have some star marking, means they have some certain condition that yeah it will execute, but yeah UI policy is 100% sure. That means if you are giving order of let's say you have written a 2-year policy. In my in our previous video also, while saving the hmm, planned start date UI policy action, right? It message pop up that order is same and this field used in other UI policy. So definitely you order is matter for UI policy in 100% sure in all the cases. But for here a star marking I have put it, that they have some kind of um, I can say not all the time it is true, but yeah, so it also matter for the client script. Fine. Now the note I have written then, which is already talked about, this was the point that your policy execute after client script. If there is a conflict logic between client script and UI policy, the UI policy logic apply, right? So this is a kind of one questions which may asked by the ServiceNow in exam, CS exam. Fine, so this is all about client script and UI policy comparison, and I hope it will help you to choose UI policy over client script and client script over UI policy. Thanks for watching. If you have not liked and subscribed my channel, please do so. It's really motivate me to make a video on the different topic. Thank you. Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Runjay Patel. Guys, in this video, I'm going to talk about a very useful concept in ServiceNow, that is UI script. You might have come in a situation where a similar kind of behavior has been asked by your client, and you have implemented all the similar behavior in the different client script. To overcome from that situation, UI script will come into the picture. So let's say if you have uh, a script which can be used multiple places but only at the client side scripting, on that case we can use UI script functionality, right? So let me give you a real world example, that a real world scenario where we can use the UI script. But let me give you a little bit brief about what is UI script basically, right? So UI script is a repository, I can say. Yeah, it's a kind of collection of method which we will be writing under the one UI script, right? And it will be only applicable from the client side scripting. It won't be applicable for the server side scripting. For server side scripting, we do have other functionality called a script include, right? And UI script is just opposite to a script include. A script include works at the server side, and UI policy works at the client side, right? So let's say we have one scenario that we want to do a comparison between two dates, right? But this comparison, start date and end date, we want to do that. This functionality has been used in multiple places, like on the change request, on the problem, on the incident, on the asset form, any other, like if you have used the project idea demand, wherever it is a start date or end date we have given as an input field on the form, we require to do the this form validation, right? So every time on the every form, if we are writing our own client script to check whether a start date or end date is greater or equal to a start date or not, then that is a very bad idea, right? Every time we have to write client script and we have to write the whole logic on it, right? So what if a functionality which gives you that your entire logic right in one place, and that logic you can call from your anywhere from the client side, that is called a UI script in ServiceNow, right? So let's understand this with practical example. I can show you the demo how we can use a UI script and how we can write our client side function and in UI script. Fine. But before starting a demo, guys, it's my humble request to you guys that if you have not like and subscribe my channel, please do so. It's really motivate me to make a video on the different topic. And also, if you would like me to make a video on any other topic, then you can write an email to me, and you can message me over the Telegram. You can come on the servicenowhelpdesk.com. My that is a blogging website. Over there you can directly chat with me, and you can ask me that make a video on this topic. I will take the request. Thank you. And now let's jump into the real world scenario. And the real world scenario, the questions over here, the requirement over here, it is that the we would like to check if there is a problem created against selected configuration item. So as you can see here, this CI is this field used in incident, change, problem, even sometime
other, if you have created your custom application, there also you can use this configuration item. And you want to make sure that if same configuration item against we have one open problem, then we should alert user to that problem has been already created for this configuration item, or still you want to proceed to create an incident or chain whatever. Then based on that their input yes or no, we can allow them to create it, right? So this validation which I'm talking about, that we have to check all the time while selection of configuration item on the form, on the incident change and problem, then we have to write one common function, right? So although we can achieve while writing a client script and whole logic into the chain incident change and problem, there is no problem in that, but execution, a little bit execution will be little slow, right? So the being a good programmer or being a good ServiceNow developer, you have to find a way to write a less code, right? And that's why here UI script will come into the picture, right? So the solution which I have provided to achieve this, we have to write a on change client script on each table, on which table, like in this case incident change problem, in your case might be some other table also involved, but for this practical example I have taken only the three table, right? As we have to check same behavior on each table, so it's recommended to each common script, right? And whenever it is coming as the common script, then in this case we will be using a UI script. Fine. So what I can do over here, right? I have already written the script to save the time. Okay. So what I will be doing, I will be writing the same code. Don't worry. I'll be explaining each and every line step by step. Fine. Let's jump into the demo part then. So let me open one UI script. So just type UI script in the left navigation, and here is the one UI script. I'm just opening in the new tab, and I'm also opening client script which I will be using in this example, right? Under the system definition I will be using a client script. So both I have opened in the different tab. So here we have a UI script, and in this UI script I think I have already written, I believe, okay, this is the one client side utils I have written down over here. So let me just open this, and this is the name API name which I have given, right? And it will apply only for the desktop. If you want to apply for mobile and desktop both, then you just click on all over here, right? You already know about it. So now the code which I have written over here, this is the one, and let me open the client one which I have written. So let me just do the so matching with the Runjay Patel. It will be easier for me to find out which one was there. Okay, on submit form validation, not this one. Okay, so this is the one I have written. Check open problem for CI. Fine. So this two I'll be using. So this script, see, only two line of code I have written in the on-change client script. So same on-change client script you have to write down in other table as well. So in this case, I have taken an example of incident only. Fine. So let's understand first our UI script. So how we can create it. So creation of a UI script is very simple, guys. I have already showcased you. Let me just recap here again. UI script, you just type a UI script in the left navigation, just click over here, you will be presented with the list of the UI script. Click over here new and give your API name and the write your logic over here. That's all. Fine. So same thing I have written, I have given my API name client side utils, and here UI type I have selected the desktop because I want to execute this logic on the desktop only. Fine. So this is already predefined syntax which will, the moment you will save this give the name, it will by default it will give you this functions, okay, or syntax I can say. So our actual logic start from here. So this is the way we can write a function. So check open problem. This is our function name, and this is the syntax for defining a function. And as a parameter, I'm asking to provide the sysid of your configuration item, right? So ci sysid, basically we have to check whether the ci any open problem against selected ci are there or not, right? So that's why I have taken an input as a sysid of the selected configuration item, and same I will be passing from the client script. I will showcase you that as well. Fine. So now here this is the function which I have defined, and here I'm doing a glide record. This is the problem gr, this is the variable I have given, and the glide record, under this I'm passing a problem, and I'm just doing a add query over here. And you can use the like get method as well, but for time being I have used this similar way to explain you that how you can use. And for using a get function, you can also in one line of code you can get the your desired output. So let's understand this. So I'm passing a sys id, and then I'm running this query, and I'm checking if gr.next, if any values are there, then I'm selecting over here that here one variable I'm saying that the confirmation of problem ticket has been, this is the message basically I'm passing over here in the answer, right? So we found, so if it will come inside this if a statement, it means there is a problem open against the ci. So here just confirmation, this is the function which we will be asking. If it will say yes, then well and good, we are going to create the new incident or change or problem. If no, then we will be inputting the configuration item value, right? So if it is, as you can see here I have selected, if it is coming as a false, then we will empty the selected field value on configuration item. I hope you get it. It's a very simple. I can same for your practice, I can paste the same code in our blogging site, that is a ServiceNow helpdesk.com. Fine. Now what I have done, this is all about the UI script. So what I have done from client script, but before jumping into the client script, if I want to write one more function, then what I can do, I can just simply copy paste, and I will say, let's say check open incident. Okay, and here I'll be saying incident, and that's all, right? So wherever, if you want to check whether any open incidents are there or not, then I'll be copying calling this function. If I want to check any problem open against this AI or not, then I'll be calling this function. Now it's applicable everywhere. Fine. It's too easy, right? So now let's jump into the our client script. So what client script I have written over here, that this is the name which I have given, and the table which I have selected, that is the incident, and the UI type. All this I have already explained in my client script videos. If you have not watched, please go and watch that first. And then here while changing the on change client script, I have written on the field of configuration item. The moment it will get changed, what it is doing, first we are making one object over here. You can see over here client side utils. So this is our basically a UI script name, client side utils, right? So this name, exactly same name you have to give, otherwise it won't take. This will be the case sensitive as well. Fine. So this here we are making one object, and using object we are calling that function. So check open problem is the function name. So check open problem is the function name I'm just calling, and as a parameter I'm passing the new value. So new value, by default it will give the client script, right? So whatever value is getting changed, that will get it will get sys id of because that is the reference field value, so you will get a sys id. Fine. I hope it is clear. And now let me check, right? So we have to test it also. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to open an incident. So let me open any incident over here, or let me yeah, fine. So I'm going to create a new incident, fine, and color as selecting my name, fine, and here in this short description I'm giving test, and here I'm going to select configuration item, right? So let's say I'm selecting first one, and we'll see whether any open problem against this CI are there or not. So as you can see here, it is saying a problem ticket has been already all has been open against selected CI. Still, do you want to open incident? If I will say okay, then it will allow, else it won't allow. Let's say I'm saying okay, then it's got selected. Fine. So let me select the different one, and we'll see whether the message is coming or not. So this time I'm selecting the second one, that SSCM mid server. So this time message didn't came, right? So it means that there is no open problem created against this configuration item. Let me showcase you again. If I will select again this one, then this time it message should pop up, and if I will say no, cancel, then it won't select over here, right? So if I will select, and if I will say okay, then by default it will get selected over here, fine, and then we can create a incident over here. Hope you got it right. So this is the code I'll be pasting it, and similar activity. So this is, I have done it. The task for you guys is you can perform the similar action on the other table, like change request and problem. Fine. Thanks for watching. Thank you. Bye bye. Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Runjay Patel. Guys, in this video I'm going to talk about catalog client script and catalog UI policy. If you have a concept of client script and UI policy, well and good. If not, then I would request you to go and watch first client script and UI policy video, which I had already uploaded in this series itself. That will give you the clarity to understand the catalog client script and catalog UI policy. Well, so let's start without wasting our time. So first we will understand what is catalog client script and why we are learning it, right? So first of all, you have to understand what is catalog, right? Although I have not created any video on the catalog, but let me give you a little bit background about it. So catalog item is nothing but a request item where you will be raising a request from your portal. So don't worry guys, in this video I'll be not explaining catalog item, because this video is only made for catalog client script and catalog UI policy. I have planned to make a separate series on service portal and catalog item, so that I'm going to release soon. I'll be not giving you the date when I will be releasing, but I have already planned to make a video on service portal and catalog item in details. So on that I'll be definitely talking about more about the catalog items, right? So catalog item is nothing but a you can understand from the service portal. You make a request like let's say you want a laptop, so you will be just going to service portal and searching for a laptop request, right? That way you are doing it. So here catalog, while making that form, so in incident, let's talk about incident form first. Okay, in incident we are writing a UI policy and client script. What is the purpose for it, right? Whether we are going to make a mandatory field, you have to hide and show some based on the conditions, right? That for that functionality we are using a client script and UI policy. Similar way, while making a catalog item, you are creating a variables. So variables is nothing but your columns name. In terms of if you will correlate to table, then variable is nothing but a column name for the catalog item. Okay, so on the certain scenario, if your client is asking to make some mandatory based on the conditions, on that case how you will be doing? So you have a concept called catalog client script or catalog UI policy. Similar way, the way you are writing general client script and UI policy, similar way you have to write a catalog client script. So instead of selecting a table, you have to select the catalog item. Don't worry, I will show you how you can do so. So instead of selecting a table, you have to select the catalog item, and instead of selecting the column name, you have to select the variable, because in catalog item column name is equal to variable, right? So whether you have to select the catalog item or the variable set. So don't worry about the variable set. Variable set is a collection of your variable. If you will combine 2 3 variables, that will become a variable set. You have to create one variable set and you have to include your variables on that. So variable set is a kind of reusable things, like in many catalog item you will be creating a many catalog item, and if you have a variable set, you can utilize variable set in each and every catalog item, right? So this is the main difference, and all the functionality, the way client script and UI policy work in the native UI, similar way catalog client script and catalog UI policy works for the catalog item, right? So now let's jump to the activity, that what are the activity we can perform using a catalog client script and catalog UI policy. So first thing is that get or set variable value. So in client script also we used to set a value for a column, and you used to get a value for a column, right? So g underscore form dot set value, we will set it, and g underscore form dot get value, under that we will be passing a column name. So similar way, instead of column name, if you are writing a catalog client script, then you have to pass the variable name. The second point which you will be performing, that hide or display variables, that also we can do it in the client script as well. Make a variable mandatory, mandatory or non-mandatory, we can make it. Validate the form submission. While submitting a form, you can just validate if you want to make sure that certain things should happen before submitting the form, that also we can do so. Add something to the cart. So cart is a one kind of a functionality in catalog item, like if you have shop from the Amazon or Flipkart, then you will be having a concept of cart. So in the catalog item also, sorry, we have a something functionality called cart. We can add a multiple catalog item, and we can raise a request at a time, right? Now I hope you got it, like that's why I have requested you, if you have not watched and if you not have a concept of a client script and UI policy, this video will not help you much, but if you have, then definitely you will understand that how it is related. And why I'm making this video, because I am covering this video series from the like scripting in ServiceNow, right? And the first part I'm covering a client side scripting. So this catalog client script and UI catalog UI policies, it will come for the client side scripting. That's why I'm covering it in this section, right? Now let's see how it is differ from the actual client script, right? So first point I have already talked about, that instead of selecting a table, you have to select the catalog item or variable set. When using a on-change catalog client script, it is linked to a particular variable instead of the field. So in the catalog item, I've already talked about that you have to select your variable instead of selecting a field. So, and the third point is a very important one, guys, that this is the exceptional scenario, but you might face, that's why I have written this. If variable name and table column name both have same name, then table column name will get executed instead of the variable. So this is a very important, guys. So this I'm not sure whether you are keeping a variable name as a table name. So if it is such scenario is coming, then you have to make sure that instead of variable, table column name will get executed. Fine. So now what we can do, we'll see in this video that how we can create a catalog client script. So what you have to do, guys, so here you just type a catalog client script over here, and under the service catalog you can see the catalog administration is there. Here you will find it. Always look for the administration. Fine. So I'm just clicking it over here. Let load the form. So this is the list of all the catalog client script which been written for the different catalog items. So I'll be creating a new one, so I'll be clicking on the new button over here. So yeah, it will represent one form. It will similar look like to client script basically. So here you have to provide the name, apply to catalog item, and the variable set on which you want to apply. Okay, and active, you know that, and UI type where you want to apply only for the desktop or mobile view or service portal. If you want to apply for both, you just select the all. And here the type, so we have a 3 type, although in client script we have a 4 or more than 4. So here we have a 3 type, on change, on load, and on submit. And in client script you have remember, then on cell edit was also there, right? So in catalog client script we have only 3 type of catalog client script we can create. And on which catalog item, here instead of the selecting a table in client script, here you have to select the catalog item, right? And apply on the catalog item view, you just make it over here. If you want to, because every catalog item, once you place the order, it will create a requested item. So if you want to apply on that as well, then you have to make sure that this checkbox is selected. If you want to apply a catalog task as well, then definitely you have to select on this one as well. Apply on the target record, yeah. So it's up to you, based on your scenario or the requirement, you have to select your checkboxes over here. And if you want to write a script over here, yeah, definitely you can do so, right? So here is the script tag you have to write to make a mandatory, to hide, and so all those stuff. Hope you got it, guys. And this is all about I wanted to discuss, because I'll be not covering much, because I have already planned to make a video on the service portal and catalog item, and that will be a separate series itself. Yeah, definitely, because I have to make so many videos on those series, right? So that's all about this video, and see you in the next video. In the next video I'll be talking about the glide ajax, because this will be our last functionality in terms of client side scripting, and then I will moving to the server side scripting. Thanks all guys, thanks for watching. If you have not liked and subscribed my channel, please do so. Thank you. Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Runjay Patel. Guys, in this video I'm going to talk about in details about glide ajax concept. If you don't know how to make a call from client side to server side to get a data while loading the form, while on changing the some data on the form, so basically whenever you are dealing with the form at the client side, at the same time you required some data which is present on the database, and directly you cannot access it at the form level. On that case, glide ajax will come into the picture. So this is a very powerful concept in ServiceNow that we will be utilizing whenever you want to execute your business logic written in a script include, and you want to execute from the client side. We'll see that how we can make a use of glide ajax. So first let's understand what is glide ajax and why we need this and why we are learning it, right? So glide ajax, let's talk about one scenario that you are on the incident form, and while submitting a form on certain scenario, you are required to get the data from the server side. I mean to say server side means the from the database. So on that case, you need a mediator to call your server side script written in the script include from your client side. So that mechanism is called a glide ajax, right? So here if you see the example over here, the picture, not example. So here what we can do, we are on the form over here. So here we will be making a glide ajax call. So it will go in two way, like a synchronous or asynchronous. Don't worry that I'll be talking about synchronous and asynchronous, and when and how we can make that synchronous and asynchronous call, right? So it will call our script include. Here our all the business logic will be written to get the data from the database, and it will return back to the glide ajax at the client side, right? It could be in the JSON format or XML format. It's up to you how you are returning the value, right? So now hope you understood that what is the use of glide ajax, right? It is very clear that whenever we require a data at the client place, then we have to make a glide ajax call, right? Although we can write a glide record, you'll be asking, hey Runjay, why we can't write a glide record? Yeah, we can of course write, but that is not recommended. Ultimately what it will does, it will call your server side script. Okay, so if you are writing a glide record object at the client side, it means you are definitely making a API call to the server side, right? So that is not recommended. This will performance, it will give you the performance issue, right? So that you have to avoid it. So that's why we have a concept called glide ajax. Now let's talk about the type of glide ajax we can write in ServiceNow. So as I have explained that there are two types of glide ajax we can write. That first is synchronous and the second one is asynchronous. So let's talk about when we can go for the synchronous call and when we can go for the asynchronous call, right? So synchronous means something that if you have written your logic in your client side and you have to wait for the response which come from your server, till that time you don't want to execute your next line of code in client script or client side scripting. On that case, definitely you have to choose the get xml wait function to make a call, right? So that will become your synchronous call. It has to, your function has to wait until and unless response will not come back from the server side. So let's say you have made a request over here, you have written a get xml wait, then next line you have written something, a print or alert something written, so it will not get executed until and unless this script include will not respond you back to your function. Got it? We will see that how we can use it with the practical example. In this video only we will do. Fine. So in the next type of glide ajax is a asynchronous call. This is a very frequently used and people use this one, async call basically. So in this case it will be just opposite to your synchronous call. It will, you have made a call to server side and you don't want to wait for the response which will come from server, and on that case your next line will get executed. So let's suppose the moment you will made a call to server side and it took, let's say 1 second, although it will not take 1 second, it will take a millisecond. So I'm taking an example, it is taking a 1 second to respond back to your client script, right? On that case what it will does, it will execute your next line basically, right? So this is if you don't want to wait for the response, on that case you have to go for the .xml. This will make a async call. Okay, hope you got it, how and when you can make a synchronous and asynchronous ajax call. Fine. So now let's move on and now let's understand asynchronous glide ajax call in detail, right? So as I said, like I'll be giving you with the practical example, so don't worry, it will give you the full clarity that how you can make a async and synchronous call basically. So first let's understand how we can make a asynchronous call. That I'll be using a get xml wait. Okay, so for this what we have to do, if you have seen this diagram, then we required two script, right? One is from the client side and another one is from server side. So in this case what I'm going to do, from the client side we can utilize our client script. Okay, so in client script we will write our logic to make a server call, and in the server we have to write our script include. So here the same thing I have written, that we have to perform two things, a script we have to write. One is the client side script to call server side scripting using a glide ajax, and the server side script to execute the logic or business logic I can say, and interact with your database at the server side. Got it? So we will write two script, don't worry. So now let's move on. So what we can do, so as you know, like in my all video I deal with the practical scenario, right? So this is a real world scenario. Even I have faced this scenario to this is kind of a one kind of a requirement which I had to make, so I have made it this way. So let's say what requirement is talking about over here, that let's say your client is saying that suppose we got a requirement from client stating, while creating an incident, if users select the VIP caller, you know that VIP caller in the user table we have some one checkbox called VIP. If you tick mark that one, then that user will become a VIP user. Okay, so while creating an incident, if user select a VIP caller, okay, then set the priority critical. So let me give you that what requirement is saying. So if let's say if you are on the incident form, okay, and you are creating a new incident. So on this case, if you are selecting a caller as a VIP, let's say you are selecting, I am selecting a able tutor. So able tutor is not a VIP, okay, right? So let me select the different one. Okay, so let me select what I can do. So if you can see here right now, is priority is planning, right? So if I will select VIP over here, so I'll be selecting my name, and the moment I will select the my name here, Runjay, then here by default you can see it is coming as a critical. So this is our requirement. If you can see that this caller is a VIP. This is the out of the box functionality. Once you will select it, I have not done anything for this. So VIP caller you will select it, by default this VIP tag will display over here. Fine. So now for achieve this functionality, how we will do it, right? So let me jump over here. Fine. So first of all, let's talk about the scenario. If you don't know that how we can achieve it, then some people will be saying, hey, we have something called a scratch pad, so we can write our display business rule. On that with display business rule, what we can do, we can call it as a VIP user on selection of that, right? We can write on change client script, and the moment you will select it, we can also call that whoever the user is getting selected. But that is not the best solution. Every time it will execute, right? So that is not the best solution. You can do so, definitely you can achieve this functionality. So only way what I want, whenever I'm selecting the caller, and it has to check whether it is a VIP user or not. If it is a VIP user, then only we have to set as a critical. That is our requirement, right? So on that case, the only option is second approach. We can go for it, that we can write a glide ajax. We can make a server side call, and we will get the whether the user selected user is VIP user or not, right? That's way we have to do it. So for that, guys, what I have done, I have created a first of all that client script I have to create, right? So create a new on change client script and use below script basically. So let me explain you that how this work, because this is the things you have to understand basically, right? So here I have given the example that okay, so first of all what you have to do on while creating a, let me go to ServiceNow instance itself, because I have already created this script, and I'll be explaining there itself instead of explaining over here. Okay, so let me open it, and don't worry guys, for this I have many people are requesting here, Runjay, please help me with the document. I'm getting multiple requests for that. So for that, what I have done, you know that this is my site. Okay, this is a blogging site. So what you can do over here, you just type glide over here. Okay, and that glide, related to glide, it will come. Okay, so glide ajax in ServiceNow. So once you will click on this link, then this all whatever I'm discussing, you will get it over here. Okay, as you can see here, so you can get it code over here. Just you can select it and copy it over as well, right? Now let's jump back to our instance. So what we can do, so first thing, okay, so first let me explain over here itself, guys, so that we will not get confusion. So two things we have to write, that first is the client script, and the second thing is that a script include. So a script include, how you will be writing, I am going to explain you, don't worry. So anyway, once I will, because this will be related to server side scripting, so I'll be not talking about much, but when I'll be covering a server side scripting, that time definitely I'll be talking about in details how we can write a script include, or what is the use of it, everything, right? So first let's understand the script include. So on change client script I have written, okay, and the first line number 6, you can see here I'm just making a one object of the glide ajax, and if you can see here inside that as a parameter user utils, I'm just passing as a parameter. So user utils is nothing but a script include name which we have created, okay. So you have to create a script include, and that you have a script include name, whatever name you are giving, you have to pass it over here, okay. So the line number 6 is clear, right? Line number 7, what it is talking about, that ga is our variable which we have created, this is our object dot add param, okay. Add param, what it is doing, so this is our key and this is our value. So sys param underscore name, so this keyword you have to keep it. If you are changing anything on this, then this call is not going to happen, you will get an error, okay. So and this as a second value, what we have to pass, we have to pass as a function which we are defining. So let's talk about here. So util is user user utils is our script include. So if you can see here, a script include name is user utils, okay. And the second, check user vip users, right? Check vip user, basically function name which is defined in a script include, right? So this is the function name I have defined it in the script include. So if you can see here, this is our function name, correct? So this is our function name, basically. Fine. Now let's go back to our client script. Now the line number 8, g underscore add param, what we can do over here, after the first and second line, means after 6th and 7th line, 8th line onwards, you can pass n number of your value. If you want to pass from front end to back end, let's say you want to pass a sys id, you want to pass the name, you want to pass the caller id, all these things you can just pass it. So what you have to do, the naming convention which you have to follow, that the sys param underscore, and after underscore you can keep anything as per your wish. You can keep your for me, for this example I have kept it as a caller underscore sys underscore id, and new value I am just passing it. So what it is doing it over here, as you can see here, key name to get value in a script include. So this same key you have to use it in your script include. So if you can see the line number 5th, once the function will get executed or get called from client side, this will get executed. Caller is called this, that get parameter, and this is the key basically which I am writing in the client script, right? So this is the way, like this dot get parameter is the way to get the value from client side, which is coming from the client side, basically, right? And the line number 9, what we are doing, ga.getXML. As you can see here, ga.getXML means which call we are making, async call, right? If you can see here, async call we are making, get.xml, sorry, .getXML means async call we are making it over here. So we will not wait for the response, basically, right? So because our after 9th there is no 10th line I have written, you'll be saying, hey Runjay, you have written 11, 12, you have already written, but this code I have written inside the function. So inside the, if I am not calling the function, it will not get executed, right? So after line number 9, this 11th line will not get executed until and unless this function will get executed, right? So ga.getXML, under this we are just making a function call. Again we are making a function call, so this will get executed once we'll get a response. So here callback function is there. So callback function, it says that this function will call once we get execution, right? Once we will get the data from basically response from server side. So this is called a callback function, right? Now here, so validate vip user is the function name. So here I have defined function validate validate vip user, and this is the response. This will become a variable, Okay, so this is our variable which is coming from a server side. So this is a way we can define a function in ServiceNow, basically in at the client side. Okay, now in the next line, in the 12th line, what we are doing, so response dot get response dot response xml dot document element dot get attribute, and inside this we are passing the answer keyword over here. So this one you have to remember it, guys, to get the value which is coming from the server side. So I have written that extract the data from xml returned by the script include. So this is the way, if you are returning a value in the xml format, then this is the way we have to get it. Okay, so response answer here, you can see here I'm just returning the VIP over here. So what I have done, I have just written a 3 line of code, gr dot we are doing a glide code over here on the sys user table. We are getting a sys id, so I'm just using this gr dot get. This is the function we will get the value. Okay, no need to do the gr dot next if all steps over here, right? Because directly I'm passing a sys id. So and then gr dot vip. So if vip is the checkbox field, I will show you, and it will has the, sorry, it has the true and false value. Okay, so I hope you got it. Like once we will have the answer, in the answer we will be getting a true or false. So if it is a true, then it will set the priority 1, urgency 1, impacted impact 1, like this we are doing it. Hope you got it. So now let's see how we have done it in our instance. Okay, so to save our time, guys, I have already created this client script. As you can see here, the client script name, which I have kept it as a set critical priority for VIP users. Okay, and I'm executing this client script on the incident table. Fine, and the UI type, it's up to you. For this is just for example, so I have kept it as a desktop, and type I have selected on change. A field name is a caller, so whenever caller value will get changed, this client script will get executed, right? So if you can see here, all the things I have already explained, right? So this is our script include name. If you will just right click over here and open the definition, it will open your script include, right? So you have to make sure that means the script include you have written, you are giving a same name over here. This is our function name, passing a value, and here I'm just calling a function, getting a value which is coming from server side. If it is a true, then I'm setting that this one, priority 1 and urgency 1 and impact 1, all three are setting. If it is not true, then what I'm doing, I'm just clearing the value, right? As simple as that. Now let's see that our script include. So this is the name of script include, user utils, right? So you have to make sure that this client callable, you have to checkbox is checked. If you are calling a script include from the client side, then you have to make sure that this checkbox is checked. If it is not checked, then your it is not recognized by client side script, basically. So that time you will be saying, hey, I'm not getting any error, but our script include is not getting called. So you have to make sure that this checkbox has to be checked if you want to call it from the client side. If you want to make a call from server side, then there is no need of making this checkbox selectable. You just make it unchecked, and you can just go call from server side, right? The same way, like you can just make an object of a script include, and the function you just call it, right? Same way I have already explained. I have not written much over here. So in this, that this will become your script include name. Here is the extend object, basically extend class we have. So don't worry, this I will be explaining. Although this is the out of the box it will come, but I will be explaining that what is the purpose for this, right? So now it's time to validate our result, right? So let's say this is our incident form, right? And here what I will be doing, I will be selecting my name, okay, because I have made myself as a VIP user. Okay, if you can see here, VIP user is there, and by default now impact, urgency and priority all are getting set as a 111, so this will become a critical. So let me open this user over here, guys, so that you can see that where we can set the VIP user. Okay, on the form it is not there, so what I can do, let me open from list. Okay, here I'm not going to customize this one, so from the list you can see here this is the one field that you have to make it. So for me, let me just look for my name, and you can find for me it will be a VIP as a true. If I will make it false, it will not come as a VIP. Hope you got the concept, guys, right? And if you like this video, then definitely it's my humble request, please don't hesitate to like and subscribe. And if you have any doubt, you can just comment on this video, I can reply back. You can chat it with me as well while submitting the few details. You can chat directly with me, I'll be responding you. But whenever I'll be free, I used to get message, but if I'll be busy, then definitely I'll be not replying you. But yeah, once I will come online, then definitely I'll be replying you back. Thank you, guys, thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Bye bye.